Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Club Live here at Club at 22, the Rangers podcast. It is Friday, finally, Friday, the 23rd of August. We are live on YouTube for all you good listeners. Thanks for joining us this evening. As you can see, we have a full house. A couple of housekeeping things to do. Firstly, thank you to everyone for crossing over to Patreon that's already done so. As you guys know, we've enjoyed the feedback we've had. Got numerous catalogues up there at the moment. I know the boys have gone through them a wee bit. We've got Club Spotlight. Nicky's got his remind me what it's called.
Club Spotlight.
What's Nicky's one?
Like he does. He named it the first time. He does Club Spotlight.
You got it right.
Is it Spotlight?
Yeah.
Spotlight. We've got Club Spotlight on the players. We've got Club Decades. We've got Club Transfer Years. We've got the blogs going. We've got Club Extra, and we've got Club Nights. Have we got anything else?
No, I know the usual stuff.
Think.
Club Deck Corner, Club Reaction, all the usual stuff.
We've got quite a wide catalogue there, but I did name John Terry's first. I mean Nicky's first, which is a fantastic pod, and I did the first one with him, which was Stephen Davis one, which is a fantastic pod to do and a great player to talk about. But get yourself over there, guys. That's the point I was getting at. If you haven't already signed up to our Patreon, you can do a 7-day free trial, I believe it is. Give it a go. If you don't like it, fair dues. But certainly I would encourage you to get yourself signed over. That is enough from me. We're here to talk about Rangers and introduce a full house this evening. And we are missing somebody who's usually here on a Friday night, but I'll tell you just now, I'm glad he's not here. I'll come to you first, Mr. Carney. How are you this evening? How's your week been?
Yes, mate, busy week at work. I mean, solid start to the podcast from you there, Ryan, must say. Really top draw stuff, really good. But no, like a long week at work, mate, and I'm actually looking forward to going and seeing Rangers tomorrow, which is probably a first this season. But yeah, it could possibly down to being that could be the last time we're there, that we have to go to a home match at Hampden, possibly that, I don't know, but yeah, it feels a wee bit more positive this week, which is very welcomed.
Good, and I'll come to you, Nicky Irvine, aka John Terry. I see it now that it's been brought up before we started recording.
You can't not see it, mate. You can't not see it. Like
I do see it now, but mate, Club Spotlight, of course it is Club Spotlight. Absolutely love that idea that you've come up with, and I've seen the list you sent over. There are some players that I am desperate to get on back on your pod and chat about. How are you this evening, mate? You all right?
I am indeed, mate. I am indeed. I'd like to think I'm a slightly nicer person than my lookalike, mate. But no, it's been a good week. My eldest is he started school now. I've got a bit of respite through the week. I managed to get a spot of lunch with a wife today in town, which was nice. And Ryan, I am delighted to say, like you last week, mate, this is my third podcast of the week. So Scott Carney, get my badge in the post.
Oh my, honestly, see if this becomes a thing, by the way. Like, see if what's this one? I'm at my week 1, 2, 3, 4th this week. So you don't need to send me a 4th badge then.
Nicky, there's no many is that can do it. That listen, I don't want to mention it. I don't want to mention
ridiculous. It. Ridiculous. So it is.
It could be like Soccer AM back when they used to. I think if the guest on 3 times, you've got a signed ball. I'll take that. If I can get a signed ball, that'd be fine. Right, enough of that. We've got an important man to introduce. Mr. Ross McLean, how are you this evening, mate? I have not been on a pod with you.
Good evening, gents. Good evening. I know, mate. It's been waiting for this one for yourself, mate. It's definitely what I've been looking forward to. But no, this is a strange one this evening. I'm usually in a bit of live chat, and here we are talking with yourself. It's an absolute pleasure as always. So looking forward to it, mate. Getting into the swing of things again, and yeah, plenty to speak about.
Good, you're very welcome. I'm looking forward to doing podcasts with you going forward. Mr. Pearson is the one I was referring to who's missing. He's on holiday again. I've given him a wee borrow of my yacht. He's currently in Portugal at the moment. And anyone who follows Mr. Pearson on social media, hang in there. The daily dog pictures will be back. I am missing them as well. But they will be back. I'm assured they'll be back because we all like to know how that dog's getting on every hour of the day. Right. We'll move on to Rangers subjects. I just can't help myself getting a dig into that guy. We'll move on to Rangers subjects, guys. I know it was covered in Club Nights about the steel being delivered. It is a huge thing. We do need to talk about it because tomorrow we're at Hampden and we all know why. But boys, the steel has been delivered. The latest, if you did not screenshot the steel and the updates from Ibrox and put it on your social media, are you even a Rangers fan? Because it looked as if everybody did it, as if they were all standing taking the pictures. I don't know what that's about. But the steel's delivered. Carney, I'll come to you first. I know you've said on the Club Nights, and I think you did it with Ross last night, possibly. The steel's been delivered. We look as if we're on our way back. The rumour is the 21st of September. How important is it to us that we get back in this stadium?
Massively important, mate. Massively important. I think it's after a kind of summer of really being quite negative about the things around the club and around the team. It's something that we're all kind of, we can't wait for it because the novelty of Hampden wore off very quickly. It really did, and it's not a stadium I enjoy going to. The atmosphere's terrible. I don't like the viewing from it. Everything, etc. Copy, paste, repeat everything that we've said about Hampden previously. But I think ultimately for the team as a whole to get back to Ibrox, it's going to be huge for them. There is some players in that squad that have never played at Ibrox before, so they've got that to look forward to. We've got it to look forward to finally getting back home. And yeah, it doesn't feel right. The game days don't feel the same, and I suppose we all were going to expect that. Don't get me wrong, but I expected the novelty to last a wee bit longer than it did. But pretty much after the second game, I think probably there I was going, can we just go back to Ibrox, please? But massive news, mate. Really good news. I think the club are doing their best to try and get us there early, which will probably ease the pressure slightly on them. The fact that we'll be ahead of a target, not the target because we're still very late, but a target that was initially set. It will still do the world of good for us to get back there as quickly as possible. Rangers play better at Ibrox. I don't think it's not difficult to make that assumption or to make that a decision about that. We definitely play better at Ibrox. It feels like home at Ibrox. You get a buzz when you see the stadium. Whatever area you come from, you know, whatever way you walk to the stadium, you know at the exact point that you see the first glimpse of Ibrox. And every time you see it, it gives you that feeling, I'm going to Ibrox. And that can't be replaced. It can never be replaced. So the news of the steel, very welcome, mate. Very welcome, and I'm very much looking forward to getting back there. I really hope we get there. I hope tomorrow is, as I mentioned at the start, I hope tomorrow is the last time that I need to go to a home game, in inverted commas, at Hampden.
Yeah, echo that. Ross, I was hoping that Dujon Sterling would be the person putting the steel in and then be in charge of the seats as well, because then we would probably be back tomorrow. But it is there. It does look as if we'll have to wait till the 21st as a rumour. Mr. Carney's right. We just need to get back into Ibrox as soon as possible. It's where we belong. It's where we play.
Correct. I never thought I'd see the day where Dundee at home would get Ibrox absolutely buzzing, but as well we are just now, lads. It's where we are. No, mate, well, echo exactly what Carney's saying. I cannot wait to get back there. There's very much Rangers are a different team at Ibrox, and I can echo what I was saying on Club Nights during the week with Carney. We've got a good run of home fixtures after that potential Dundee game. I think there's 3 home games on the bounce before a tricky fixture away at Kilmarnock. So if we can hopefully get a few good performances under the belt then and go into a game that would, other than the other side of the city, would be probably our trickiest venue the season. If we can get back to Ibrox to at least get a wee bit of momentum under our belts, then that would hopefully be quite good. My phone all day has just been the same with you. I believe my neighbour's been to Ibrox, my barber's been to Ibrox, everybody's been there. I've seen the screenshot a million times, but no, there's massive positives coming our way, mate. And for a while, it looked like it wasn't always going to be like that with Ibrox. So it's good to see things on the up. And yeah, let's more of that, please, Mr. Rangers.
Yeah, more of that, Mr. Rangers, indeed. Nicky, you know me, mate. I'm half empty kind of guy. I did think to myself, I said originally it would be the Hibs game, but in my head, I probably in conversation with you guys, I said this is looking like October, November, December, probably known Rangers. Touchwood as we speak, getting in at the end of September or the 21st of September, if the rumours are true, would be a massive benefit for us. It would be a boost for us.
Yeah, it would be, mate. And I think given some of the rumours that were circulating on Twitter about when we would be back in Ibrox, it would be a massive boost if we can get in the next kind of 3 or 4 weeks. I mean, I've seen rumours on Twitter and various other platforms that we wouldn't be back to December. I'm sure I've seen one into the new year, 2025. I actually seen a wild one that said we were just going to forfeit the season because we couldn't play at Ibrox. So it is a massive boost if we get back into Ibrox over the next few weeks. Listen, I think when this all happened, and we were obviously toying with the idea of Hampden, whether it was Ibrox behind closed doors or even Murrayfield was on the table as well. I think what we all agreed as fans was, however long it was and however many fixtures we needed to negotiate, get through them unscathed. That was the only thing, right? Get through them unscathed and get back to Ibrox with as many points on the board as possible. And it looks as though we've obviously played the cup game. We played a league game there as well. If tomorrow is the last game and we manage to get a win, then listen, we have ultimately come through the home games unscathed. The fans are probably more scathed, to be honest, because I took the 2 boys to Hampden, and it is an absolute nightmare getting there. The viewing in it, the actual stadium itself, it's just an absolute nightmare. But listen, the only one thing I will say is we're all talking about tomorrow and this potentially being the last time we'll play at Hampden, how much of a buzz there's going to be if it's Dundee at home for the next game back at Ibrox. And there will be. We get an energy from our fan base. We think about the European nights. I get there's maybe a wee bit of an extra buzz that you get a nighttime kickoff on a Thursday night, but we get a bit of energy from our fan base. The one thing we can't take our eyes off, though, is we've got 2 massive fixtures before Dundee. In fact, we've actually got 3 because we've got a big one tomorrow as well. But I think if you look at our fixtures, what we got, Celtic away and Dundee United away, places we have not fared well. And if we don't come through them well, then all of a sudden the energy for that Dundee game just gets zapped. So we've got massive fixtures we need to negotiate before we get back there.
Yeah, no, definitely. It's definitely a way to look at it. It's just been a little light shone our way for a change because it has been pretty torture. And I was definitely, as you boys know, I was one who just kind of gave myself a break for Hampden last week. I just couldn't face it because I'm not a fan of it. The same as Carney, I can't stand the place. But yes, hopefully, let's be positive that Rangers are back there soon, and maybe tomorrow is our last time at Hampden until the League Cup semi-final, which I'm sure we will make, guys. We'll move on to players because there's rumours galore. I've taken I don't know how many notes for this pod, and we could fill 2 hours with the amount of players linked, the amount of players rumoured to go. The latest one broke about half an hour ago. I think it was just before we come on air. I think it was Chris Jack that broke it originally, and it's Ben Davies. I don't believe, somebody can correct me, it's confirmed yet, but I think he's on his way to Birmingham on loan. Carney, this is one for me that could just start the ball rolling. This could be a conveyor belt of players going out, especially this week leading up to the window shutting. I always look at the transfer windows as a game of poker. I think clubs are just sitting there pretending they don't want to sell him, they don't want to buy him, they don't want to show how much money they've got. Ben Davies is the first of many, hopefully, to go out, but he is one that is definitely a positive in terms of wages and the level of player to get him out the door.
Absolutely, absolutely. We met Davies, didn't we? We met him at the hospitality we'd done that time. Guy. Nice guy, don't get me wrong, lovely guy, nice speaking to him. But
nice guy, they're all nice guys.
I know they're all nice guys, but ultimately you're not good enough to play for Rangers. It's as simple as that. Davies is one that he'll probably do fine in the next club that he goes to, but for what we need, he just isn't it. He's not reliable enough. He's never really gave me any real confidence that he was going to be a kind of rock at the back for us. I think he's got mistakes all over him, and for the wage that we're paying him, we're not seeing the returns of that on the football pitch, mate, and there's so many on the team that you can say about that. I don't know if you're going to bring it up, but the fact that we were linked with a £7 million or €6.5 million, whatever it would have been for us, it Kaike, I want to say, I think his name was, a 20-year-old Brazilian that was apparently rejected, and that was by Fabrizio Romano that broke. So there's probably something in that. The guy's quite a good source, believe it or not. So that was rejected. I was going, well, immediately I thought, well, somebody must be leaving, and the only one that you can think would go would be Davies. I think Clement quite likes Souttar. I think he thinks he can use him left or right side of the defence, so I think he's quite happy to keep a hold of him. Davies is very much one-sided. He can't really play on the right-hand side, and I wouldn't want to see it for that matter. But I think Davies is the one of the centre halves that you'd be like, right, you have to go. You would have to leave, and hopefully the full details that come out, it's a loan with an obligation to buy. That would be fantastic. But either way, I would imagine Birmingham are going to be able to afford these wages, or at least the majority of them, which again would free us up a loan to come in. I know it's not ideal looking at the loan market, but you have to kind of get what you can take right now because of our kind of financial situation, unless we've had the wool pulled over our eyes because we've actually got $6.5 million to spend on a centre half that we didn't know about. But look, I think it all, even that rumour, and then now the Davies, obviously, that looks like that's about to happen, all of a sudden you're like, this could be a busy few days, this could be a busy week that we're about to look into in terms of transfer activity. It's welcomed, mate, I'm not going to lie. I think he is that one, and as I said, at the back that you would happily see move on. And yeah, as quickly as possible, please, Rangers, get him out and get somebody else in. We're all desperate for it, so time to get the ball actually rolling. And I just hope it leads to a couple of signings of real quality getting brought into the team, because that is the minimum I think we all expect.
Yeah, I think it will. I think it will lead to it later. I mean, if that was your only one going out, which it won't be, I think it would lead to at least a loan signing, because I'm pretty sure Ben Davies will be on decent wages if he's came for Premier League. Mate, he's on
high 20s, mate. Yeah, high 20s.
I would agree. Ross, it's, for me, this is a positive, but it's also interesting that, as Carney says, Fabrizio Romano had broke. He was supposed to be on tonight, but we've already got for Fabrizio. We'll give you a call. But KK was, I believe how you pronounce it, I'll be corrected in the chat, was linked with us for 7 million, something like that. Like, there's obviously something in that if he's breaking it, but Ben Davies leaving is definitely a positive, and hopefully, as I said, it's the first of many.
I keep that notepad at the ready for the next week, mate. It's going to be a busy one, that's for sure. Yeah, Ben Davies he's probably a player we'll just look back at and say it didn't work out with him. He's definitely, there's a few moments that I don't need to point out, but he's been at fault for a fair few disastrous results, especially against Aberdeen City. But hopefully it can be a chance for me. I think maybe seeing players like your young Kings coming in, getting an opportunity. You know, the centre backs we've obviously lost a good player in Connor Goldson, a big player as well. And, you know, obviously with the news about Prupper today, if that's Ben Davies away, then other than if you're starting Sutton, Prupper, and Davies is away, you've got Balogun and hopefully Leon King for me. I know that not everyone's maybe keen on playing the youth team, but it's definitely, if we're in the situation we're in just now where it's looking likely that 3 or 4 players isn't exactly manageable, then we're going to make use of the full squad. So for me, mate, it's, I like what Carney says, to bring quality in, players need to go out, and if Ben Davies is the start of it, then let's see what else we can get out.
Yep, definitely. Nicky, Ben Davies, I kind of slated him a wee bit in the last blog I did, and I said he was built like a gymnast, and it maybe a bit harsh on the guy, but I do think that physically, I don't think he had it for Rangers and what we need, especially from games. You've seen players running past him, turning them inside out, but all the best to him. Like Carney said, nice guy. We met him, nice guy, which he is. But we need bigger. As
if he actually cares what we think of him as well. Like, nice guy, you know that. But
who knows what he's watching in that plane down to Black? Where is it? Going Blackburn? No, Birmingham. So yeah, where was that? Aye, this is a positive. that Rangers are managing to get rid of him, but not just him, it's the wages as well, Nicky, because obviously we're constantly trying to reduce this wage bill, but this is a positive if this move gets finalised.
Aye, I mean, I would argue you've maybe not been harsh enough, Ryan, and your blog on Ben Davies. Ben Davies genuinely would have been top of my list to get out the door this summer. He is as soft as shite as a centre-back as we've ever had, genuinely. I don't think I'll forgive him for letting the ball bounce on the, what was it, corner goal line against Celtic that cost us a goal, 2 years ago, 18 months, 2 years ago now. He's been bullied constantly in the games he come in. In games that Rangers dominate, he occasionally does look all right because he is tidy on the ball. He's left-footed. He gives us that kind of balance that we've not necessarily have. You think about, other than Helander, we have, for the vast majority of the last 4 or 5 years, predominantly played right-footed centre-backs at left centre-back. So he does provide us with a bit of balance, but listen, it's frustrating. Scott, you mentioned it's a loan at the minute. I'm hoping there's an obligation to buy. And to be honest, mate, that is probably the only thing that I can think of as to why we have been linked with a €7 million guy, centre half. There must be something that suggests that Ben Davies will go on loan and there will be an obligation to buy. We will in absolutely no way bring in €7 million for Ben Davies, whether we bring in, I don't know, 2-3 million, something like that. What did we sign him for? 3.5-4 million quid, something like that?
£4 million, but also I think Mr. Luke McLeod just donated $199 there, and I think that was him getting at Ben Davies' value now.
Yeah, right.
Indeed.
Thank you.
No, I would listen. I would like us to go in. I think we need to get into the market for a centre back. As I say, if it's a loan, whether you can bring somebody in for 12 months with an obligation to buy, but I am nervous about these obligations to buy because we've obviously got Cortez and stuff in the summer as well, which I believe is an obligation. But obviously we've got Cifuentes out. I believe there's an option to buy on that. Ben Davies is maybe another one. I do think we need to bring in another centre back. I think John Souttar. Scott, you and I spoke a lot about John Souttar during the week. Yeah, he needs a run of games. Let's see where he's at after a run. I still think Souttar's got mistakes in him. You've got to imagine that Proper will be the main centre-back of the group. Balogun, how often can Balogun play? You know what I mean? He's 35, 36 years old. And then obviously Nsiala and Leon King, we just don't know. We hear a lot of rumours about Leon King, about how they're trying to adapt him into this number 6, a more defensive midfielder. We don't really know what's going to happen with Leon King. So, yes, I think if Davies goes out the door, I would like us to go. I think we need to get into the market. We need to get somebody else in. Ideally, I think it needs to be another kind of starter. I think it needs to be somebody who is going to challenge John Souttar, I think, to play with Proper in an ideal world. And as I say, if you can get somebody in one of these Premier League clubs, right, they will have unbelievable amount. Go to Chelsea, right? Chelsea have got 150 players signed. Go to them. They'll have somebody. They'll have somebody that we can take, right? Don't get me wrong, they're all in 8-year contracts, 150
That's
grand.
your insight. Obviously, you being John Terry, that's your insight into Chelsea.
That's how he knows. He knows these things, yeah.
Exactly. So, no, I'd like us to get into the market, and hopefully, as you boys say, it just starts the ball rolling a wee bit. We tend to, the market's been slow. We kind of seen the Euros. It picked up a wee bit. We've been quiet. It normally picks up again. People start hitting panic buttons at the sort of last week of the window, and hopefully that trickles down to us, and we can hopefully pick up a few bodies to much needed reinforcements.
Yeah, much needed indeed. I think I've kind of said all the way through this window, and it might be hope rather than anything else, but I've said this team will be different come the 1st of September. It has to be, boys. It literally has to be, no matter what happens in this Old Firm game, whatever. This team has to be different. It has to have a different look, or things could get messy. Carney, I want to talk about Ben Davies. Looks to be on his way out. I know it's not done yet, but this, like I say, it could be the start of a conveyor belt of players leaving Rangers, which is a good thing. When we kind of knew Ben Davies is one of these players that been when told that he can leave. There are another couple of players you could mention, like Rabbi Matondo, who's been linked with Blackburn, I think it was this week, or Leeds. there are a few players like that you kind of know they've been told you can leave, but there are two players who quite clearly have been told they can leave and are in the B team at the moment. Now, this is where I'll turn it into a wee bit of negative. I don't think Clermont or the club or both have kind of dealt with these two in the best way. It now looks as if we are desperate to get them off our books. They're in our B team. They're far too good for that standard. Do you think Clermont's dealt with us in the best way, or do you think we are going to be stuck with the two of them, which I think it looks like we are going to, and they'll just, because one of them certainly looks as if he's happy just to not play football and just sit in the B team and take his wages, which really, really, you know what. So has Clermont dealt with us in the best way, or could he have taken another avenue, put the arm round him and made him look like a great player, then sold him?
It's difficult. I think when the manager's backed into a corner, when a player enters his office and says, I don't want to be here anymore, sell me, basically. And by all accounts, Clermont's told us twice now that that's what Cantwell wants. He gave him a chance to go away. Think about it. He came back again and said, I still want to go. At that point, what is the manager meant to do? Don't get me wrong, I think this is all snowballed due to the media and social media and whatever else now bad it gets, and Cantwell's inability to not put something stupid on social media as well. It doesn't help people want to sign him, doesn't attract clubs to want to sign him. So I think he's the one that we may be stuck with. I think Hagi will go. I think Hagi has got enough, his name's got enough pedigree in itself for someone to go, we could take him, because there's certain clubs that can make money just out of his name. Think of the shirt sales, think of all the advertising, all these things that they can do using Yanis Hagi. I think it would benefit them in more way than one, just not on the football pitch, also financially off it as well, with all the commercial stuff. So I think Hagi will go. I think he's the one that will most likely take he'll find a team. I'm sure he'll find a team, and I think he'll probably do quite well. For me, with Hagi, it's just the pace thing. With me, he's so slow, like for the age that he is. And it's not clicked for him here. Yes, he got a bad injury, 100% he did, and unfortunately that happens in football, but he's not really been any of the manager's real plans for years now. So I think Hagi's one we will get money back. Cantwell is a concern. I'm not going to lie, it is a concern that he seems to be fully spat the dummy out. That's the way it looks from the outside looking in. You mentioned it just before we started, Ryan, that it seems that him and Clermont have had quite a serious falling out as well. So there's only so much a club can do to say you need to leave. If he doesn't want to accept an offer, then it's pretty much down to him. It's all about his ambition. It's all about how much he wants. I would genuinely accept any offer of any half decent value for Cantwell just to get him off the books, because there's no point in having dead money sitting there doing nothing. It's disappointing that he's chose to act like this, but can we really say that we're surprised?
No, we're not. I certainly am not personally surprised. He's obviously got a history of this throughout his career, and it's why he'll end up where he's going to end up, which will be in the abyss by the looks of it. Ross, what I was kind of getting at is, I feel as if these are players who we could make money off of. I think Hagi, I agree with Carney, his name speaks for itself. He's always going to get a move, Hagi. He'll always get a move because his name, but he's a decent player as well. He's got his kind of label side of it in terms of, was it Pepsi Max or something he was on the side of a couple of years ago. Does things off the field, presents himself well, and he's Hagi's son, he's Georgie Hagi's son, so always have that. So we'll make money off him. But have we chosen the wrong path and putting them in the B team instead of let's pretend we really like them and we don't want to let them go and see what kind of money comes in for them, because their value, in my opinion, looks a lot less than what we would maybe have expected to get of them 6 months ago.
I think it could potentially be one to look back in hindsight and say the incomings from the transfer window could have potentially been different had Hagi and Cantwell maybe had that arm around the shoulder. You know, as you're right, there is the opportunity for Hagi, especially commercial wise, to bring in a fair bit of money. Obviously, Cantwell's came from down south, and I'm sure there'll be folk even down there who will look at Cantwell and go, right, we'll give him a go. I think Carly's right, it's difficult. I think Clermont has been pretty, looking at it quite professional about it. If players don't want to be here, age-old saying, nobody's bigger than the club. If you don't want to put on the kit, then you'll sit on the B team, like, not at all. So yeah, it's, again, I hope it isn't an opportunity missed for potential funds to come in to then bring in some quality. But yeah, it's just lay off the Insta post, Cantwell. See, for the time being, just lay off Insta posts, and yeah, we'll see what happens with him.
Well, he's lost a follower in me, that's for sure, Ross. Don't worry about that. I'll not be following him any longer. Nicky, the two of them, Ross makes a good point. This could have been different depending on how the transfer market had gone for us at the early stages of the window. But what I'm worried at is we're going to get stuck with maybe possibly the two of them. Hagi, I think, will be the one who, if only one of them leaves, I think Hagi will leave. Cantwell's the one that I am concerned that will happily just sit there, put these posts out for the rest of the season, and then there'll be the inevitable, let's give him a chance if he's there.
Yeah, it is a difficult one because there's trying to get a balance, right? When players are not in plans anymore, or for whatever reason, either we've decided as a club that they're not in plans, or they've decided, like Cantwell's situation, that he wants to move on. It's about how you get that balance, right, of how do you still get their value, but also kind of keep them not completely cast them away from the club, which is kind of what we've done with the two of them. I mean, looking at the two, Hagi, I'm very, very surprised at. I agree with you, boys. I am very surprised that Hagi is still kicking about here. He has the weight in his name, like I say. And to be honest, we've seen quite a few fairly strong rumours with Hagi as well. I think there was a rumour from Turkey earlier on. I know his dad spent a lot of time in Turkey during his career, so there will still be that Hagi brand over there. I think he was heavily linked with one or two clubs in Serie A as well. Hasn't materialised. He's kind of doing whatever he can in the B team. He's kind of smashing it, as you boys say. He is far too good for that level of football. Unfortunately, he's simply not good enough. I agree with Scott. I mean, I've been very vocal, Ryan, about the number 10 position with Rangers and how I would just patch it. Hagi is another one that, listen, see if you give him a ball and you give him all the time in the world, he'd be great, right? Because his passing ability, his range of passing, his vision is very, very good. Technically, he's great, but he's too slow. He dilly-dallies, and he would just get hammered up here. And I think that's what happened. And realistically, that's why he was never trusted in big games. Even during the 55 season when he was great, Gerrard never really trusted him in the big games against Celtic. He was always kind of pulled out of those games. But I'd like to think that he'll still go, and as I say, coming back to that balance, I'd like to think that we will still get a reasonable fee. Cantwell, yes. I am concerned with the Cantwell situation, same as you, Ryan. The thing with Cantwell that I find it quite difficult to understand, right, is we're Rangers fans, and if Rangers says to us, listen, we're in a bit of bother here. We need you off the books because we need to move forward as a club. We need to bring somebody in. Every one of us would step aside. We'd be gutted, but we'd step aside for the good of our club. Cantwell's not a Rangers fan. Cantwell's a boy from down south who's come up here. He signed a contract. We've said we will pay you 30 grand a week, whatever it is, for the next 3 or 4 years, irrelevant of what happens. Why would he move on? I get the argument that for the good of his career, he needs to move, right? If he wants to get the maximum out of the next 6 or 7 years or whatever he has left playing football, then he needs to move on. But yes, I am concerned that he does seem happy to just sit and take his wage. We've seen these situations arise, not just with us, but across the city as well, albeit I do think across the city are better at dealing with it than us. I think they get better value in the market. I think they're more ruthless at getting people out the door. But yes, I am slightly concerned by the Cantwell, and yes, there is an argument that we could have dealt with this slightly better. But to echo, I don't know if it was yourself, Ross, or Scott, there's maybe just an accumulation of there's lots of shit happening at Rangers, and we're all a wee bit pissed off. And this is just another kind of straw to add to it that we're just kind of getting ourselves a wee bit upset about. But like I say, I'd be surprised. I think there will still be suitors down there that like Cantwell, even though his spell at Norwich hasn't been great. His Rangers career is kind of tailed off poorly as well. I think there might still be suitors. So hopefully in the next 6 or 7 days, whatever we've got left in this window, somebody comes in. Because like you, Ryan, he's maybe one of those that you go, given the situation, we just need to take what we can get the wages off, and hopefully we can reinvest it wisely.
Yeah, I think it just shows the attitude. I think it shows the attitude. Hadji's clearly got the right attitude. Happy to play in the B team, play himself out of there, get his move.
Well, listen, just to add to that, Ryan, right? See if you're a team in Serie A or the Championship and you're looking at the two of them for a number 10, there's only one winner at the minute, and it's Hadji.
Spot on.
I agree. And I'll tell you something, neither of them will be getting any Manscaped privileges because of the time for a word from our sponsors. Gentlemen, do you want your grooming routine to be a one and done deal? Well, the days of using the same trimmer for your face and your private parts are over thanks to our friends at Manscaped. They've come up with the ultimate package to keep your hairs trimmed, introducing the Beard and Balls bundle featuring the Lawnmower 5.0 and the Beard Hedger, a trimmer for the money maker and another for the boys downstairs. Get 20% off, and free shipping with the code CLUB@22 at manscaped.com. That's 20% off and free shipping with the code CLUB@22 at manscaped.com. For the premium grooming experience, trust Manscaped. First up, your balls' new best friend, the Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra. This trimmer gets it right first time. It is gentle on the skin and your delicate places. With 2 interchangeable skin-safe blade heads, you can choose between a precise trim or a smooth finish, and it's waterproof. Next, let's talk about the Beard Hedger. Whether you're going for a neat stubble or a full-on lumberjack look, this trimmer has you covered, featuring a titanium-coated stainless steel T-blade with 20 length options. You can achieve any style you want with just a twist of a zoom wheel. Just like the lawnmower, the Beard Hedger is also waterproof, so you can handle your beard grooming right in the sink or shower without worrying about water damage. The Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra ensures you're looking your best below the waist, while the Beard Hedger takes care of everything above. So get 20% off and free shipping with the code CLUB@22 at manscaped.com. That's 20% off and free shipping with the code CLUB@22 at manscaped.com. No more juggling multiple tools or dealing with the subpar results. Just efficient, effective grooming wherever you need it, all thanks to our sponsors, Manscaped. Thank you so much, Manscaped, for that long and lengthy advertisement, which I enjoy doing every single time I do this pod on a Friday. Your products are absolutely fantastic.
Breaking news, everybody. Andrew Muir, usual, everybody will know Andrew and Justin. Justin is in Seattle about to propose to his partner. Fantastic. Andrew, you need to let us know how it goes, mate. Leave your comment or something on the Patreon or something and let us know how that goes.
Justin.
I wonder where he was. He's probably, him and his missus are probably sitting watching this, and he's just like looked at her like they've just. She'll be sitting shocked, like what?
I'm actually thinking bit out of order for missing the podcast live. No,
yeah,
they not done this like
either
side of hat. Aye, come on, Justin, you need to get your hat together. So
I know.
No, all the best, Justin. Just because it doesn't work out for some of us doesn't mean it doesn't work out for you, son. Get yourself on there. I'm sure it'll be fine. Best of luck. Please let us know, Andrew, how that goes. Good luck to him. Where are we, gentlemen? Who do I want to speak about next? We have done the outs. We'll speak about a few links. So an amazing one that came in for the chat during the week, and I thought, do we talk about this in the pod? And I'll talk about it briefly. As Ryan Kent was linked to a move back to us. Now, Jamie Mackay was the first one, I think, that put it in the chat and said, take him a minute, I think his words were, but his reputation is shocking after saying that Connor Barron's the next Barry Ferguson. Carney, just a quick one from you before I move on to the next one. Ryan Kent, would that be a yes for you?
Absolutely not, mate. No, I'm never a fan of going back. I know there's players that have came back. There's differences in them, though. Obviously, Ferguson, Davis, they're the kind of two that would probably spring to mind in recent times, anyway. And yeah, I mean, I get the clamour for it because he's an exciting left winger, do you know what I mean? But you've got to remember how little he produced for Rangers over his closing spell that he had at the club. His stats were nowhere near what we need right now. So for me, no, mate, a firm no.
Nice. Ross, yourself, I know you're a bit younger than me, so I'll maybe get the Rangers Da hat on, or do I?
No, I'm in your boat for this one. Yeah, Ryan Kent, he's not for me, unfortunately. I think as a club, just in general, if we want to go forward, there's no time for bringing in old players. And I get that there's maybe an argument, or if there's even an argument for he knows the league, etc. No, I'm sorry, just and that's me saying as a big Ryan Kent fan myself as well. There's a small number of players who I'd potentially bring back one day, and by looks I'm looking at like your Calvin Bassies, who are young, who are absolutely cracking players at the moment. But for me, mate, it's a non-starter, unfortunately.
I am warming to you, Ross. I am warming to you. And Nicky, let's make this a full house here, and let's show that Jamie must have been on the drink. Ryan Kent, how could we possibly replace those 4 goals from last season? Yes or no for you?
I think Ryan Kent stunk the place out. Ryan Kent stunk the place out, didn't he? The last 18 months or so he was at us, he did stink the place out. The one thing I will say is I think Ryan Kent's better than any wingers we've got at the minute. Genuinely, I do think he is better. Whether I'd take him back or not, there would be a lot of things that would need to be right for it. Wages, etc., would be, I imagine, very high. They were probably high when Kent was first here. Over in Turkey, I would imagine they're as high, if not higher. So there would be a lot of hurdles, I think, to go over for that one to work, Ryan, which I think is a phrase you like to use, mate. His form over the last 18 months as well hasn't been great. Even over there, I think it's been really poor. Probably not. But what I will say is I don't think our winger options at the minute is very good.
I know. I listen. I can see where people are coming from. I'll be honest. Like, because it's been such a bleak kind of ending to the window, I understand the desperation amongst fans who are like, "Oh, we've not got his. Look at the wingers we've got." I agree with kind of Ross. We need to move on. We need to let go, and we have let go of him. And just because it's not working out for him, and we're a wee bit desperate, it's a no for me. We'll move on to another man. I think you guys discussed it in the club nights as well, which is over in Patreon. Get yourself over there. And
nice, liked it. Nice.
There you go. Segue. That's a bit of business chat there for you. Is Abdallah Sima, Carney, a player that I know you were very up for getting back to Ibrox. He has signed for is it
Brest?
Brest, right? Brest. Okay. Big fan of him. Come on, guys.
Come on.
Disappointing is that? Have we missed out, or do you think we've just not been at the races to sign Sima back?
I think there's a number of things at play here. I think Brighton, would probably have had quite a big say in where he was going to go play his football. Dare I say, if we made the Champions League, he might have found his way back to Ibrox, mate, because it would have been exposing him for... They had an option to extend him for a year, which I think they've chose to do. So it's now about getting him into the shop window, really, and this will put him in the Champions League. They'll be playing the Champions League. In that regard, you understand it. I think it was probably an outside chance of him coming back to us because the money would have been quite significant for him. However, we did float about, or Fabrizio Romano even was saying that we were floating a $6.5 million bid for a player, which I think could have tempted Brighton, don't get me wrong, but because they've chose to handle the player the way that they have, then unfortunately we have missed out. I wouldn't say I was like completely 100% banging the drum for him, but for what we need and a guy that we've seen tested and at points, well, before he got injured, he was on course to be our top goal scorer for the season, considering he was playing on the left-hand side. That's the kind of player we need. That's the player we need. We need somebody contributing more from the wide areas as well as your centre forward and other areas of the pitch as well, contributing stats, contributing assists, contributing goals. So in that regard, I was like a wee bit when I heard the news, because I thought he would have done the job, and I think he would have got a bit of brownie points from the support. I think the board would have got a bit of brownie points for that, because it is a player we know, it is a player we've seen tested, and it was I liked him. I just liked the size of him, I liked the pace of him, I liked the power of him. He kind of ticked the boxes for me, but not to be, unfortunately, a bit of a probably a sign of where we are. That signing for us in Sima was probably just maybe, well, what I hope is maybe a season, no more than 2 seasons, please. Just a bit too early for us. I think in a couple of seasons at the most, that's the kind of calibre of player that we should be looking to sign. But on this occasion, not to be.
Yeah, Ross, I think Callum makes a good point. It's probably a reflection of where we are. I mean, when you get a player on loan like Sima and he's successful, which he was, injury aside, but he was a successful player for us in a successful loan period for him. You automatically want to sign that player out of a price range, mate.
Well, looks of it, yeah. It's seems to be another Malik Tillman situation. That's kind of what I'm getting from that as well. Yeah, Sima was, I think his injury when he went off with Senegal was a well played.
That's good. Sorry, Ross, I put you off there. That's good, Curry. That's good, Curry. That's good.
But no, when he went off internationally, kind of, I'm not sure, maybe just couldn't like kick on from there from a Rangers point of view. But on a kind of Rangers aside, mate, I guess I'm happy to see him getting some football again. You know, he seemed like he's not a good lad. Seemed like he loved the club, and I'm sure we'll welcome back at Rangers one day. So he's got the number 17 shirt. So he's seen that Matondo performance at the weekend and thought, you know what, have a wee bit of that.
Aye, it's I agree. He's a good player for us, and it just never felt as if we were going to get him in a permanent, just because of the prices that are getting banded about and knowing what he was at Brighton for. It felt out of reach. Nicky Sima, for me, again, paint the wall, but it was a successful loan period and a successful signing for us. But we've missed out on him, or we've not been at the races for him because of financial constraints. However, I think that's the kind of standard of player or above that we need to be looking at. We need to be bringing in another player like that of that calibre.
Yeah, 100%, mate. I'm a bit disappointed, to be honest. Scott, you and I spoke during the week again about what could we do in that forward line, what would be the 1 or 2 positions that if we could fill between now and the end of the month, where would it be? And I think we both agreed that a Sima would almost be perfect on top of potentially a right back, because Sima had a lot of really strong attributes to me, similar to what Scott said: big, powerful, aggressive, had numbers. We've just spoke about Ryan Kent there. Ryan Kent was fantastic during the 55 season, probably the season before as well, and some of the European run the year after. But Sima, in the short time that he was here, his numbers were far better than the output that we've seen from Kent for the vast majority of the time that he was here. I think the other thing with Sima as well is he solved quite a few problems for us, because he could play on the left. We've seen him on the right. We've also seen him centre forward as well. So he could have solved a lot of our problems to a degree because of his flexibility and versatility in playing those kind of 3 positions whenever we've maybe get guys missing with injuries, suspensions, etc., etc. I do find it maybe weird that we didn't see any links with Sima. Scott, again, I think you and I had maybe spoke about this. There was maybe a small bit of hope in the back of my mind that Sima was one that we were maybe watching in the background just to see what happens, and we would maybe go in very, very late in the window to Brighton to try and get him at a bit of a bargain. Albeit, I think that hope quickly diminished when we were knocked out of the Champions League and we never even got the 4 or 5 million quid for the playoff round. But he's moved on. Listen, I wish him all the best. To Ross's point, he seemed like a really good guy. Loved the club. It's probably just good that we can end this saga now, because it was actually becoming a bit of a pain in the arse that every second day somebody was retweeting going, can we bring Sima back? Not interested in any of the financials or the numbers that were behind it. And yes, if we have got a list of people that we're looking at and Sima was on it, we score him off, mate, and we move on. We've got 6 or 7 days to bring somebody else in.
Yeah, totally agree. And hopefully we do. And as I said, I want to bring somebody in of kind of that calibre, because he was one of the few positive signings from last year. Guys, I had a few things to talk about tonight, probably a couple more negative. You'll be surprised to hear, but I'm going to keep it positive. So I'm going to jump on it to presser. And unusually for me, I usually want to just talk about the manager's presser, but I was kind of more intrigued with the players. So it was obviously Clement, but it was Conor Barron who did the players' press conference today, and he said he had been a really good week. He's really enjoying the style of play. It's completely different for him than what he'd been playing with Aberdeen. Thank God for that. But he said he's really enjoying the challenge, and he's not surprised. I really liked it. Didn't come across as arrogance. He was asked, "Are you surprised at how well we've played and how well you've fitted in?" And he said, "No." He's got total faith in his ability. Love that answer and that confidence from him. I want to kind of speak about Conor Barron because, yeah, he's taken a lot of plaudits and he deserves them, but the Scottish market is where I'm getting at. Conor Barron has walked into that Rangers team, and I thought he would be a kind of squad player, one that looks for the future, but I didn't have any kind of qualms about kind of settling in. It already looks as if he's going to be the first name in the team sheet.
Yeah, look, mate, I think your argument that you constantly go on about with the Scottish market is every pod, man. But no, you're spot on. It's a perfect case and example that you can put forward, mate. And I've said a million times before, mate, you were 100% right about Lewis Ferguson, but I backed it down and said that we shouldn't have done it. So you were right there. Conor Barron is a guy that's came to the club. He's identified quite quickly of the players that are round about him and who are playing that he's got a real opportunity to make a name for himself, and he's grasping it. I'm the same, mate. I love the confidence in that. It's not too much of an ego. It's just I've got full belief in what I can do and what I can bring to this club and how I can contribute to this team. I love that. I absolutely love that. It's confidence. It's a wee bit of gallus. Not too much, just enough to make you go, right, you've got your head screwed on the right way, son, and you know exactly what is expected of you. Full plaudits go to him, mate, for the opportunity, for the performances he's putting in. I think when he didn't play on Saturday there, as soon as he came on the pitch, you noticed he was on the pitch. Immediately you could see the difference that he made. You can't ask more for that from a signing. I didn't think he was coming here to start either. I didn't think he was going to be one of the names that we all put into our midfield three, if you like, before a game when we're predicting a team. But for me, yeah, he's a guy that's really took his chance, mate, and the Scottish market is something that we have to do better, and I don't think there's any great doubt about it. There is deals to be done there. The bit that puts me off, and that's always a bit of a caveat the Scottish market with, is when we go for a player in the Scottish market, the price is always inflated because it's Rangers. Yeah. If they were going to Hearts, etc., then it wouldn't be as much of an inflated price, but because it's Rangers, and it happens to Celtic as well, I'm not going to say it doesn't, because it does, but it's always inflated, and that's why I'm starting to go, right, well, hang on, why would they be 2 million to Hearts but he's 4 million to Rangers, kind of thing, do you know what I mean? So, but look, no, it's definitely a market we need to do better in, and Conor Barron is bread and butter proof of that, mate, that he's absolutely capable enough to play in this Rangers team.
Yeah, no, I would echo that, and you make a good point about the Scottish market, Ross. Clement said a couple of weeks ago, I think it was after the European game, we haven't replaced John Lundstram. I found that bizarre when he said that. I would say we have, and more so. Conor Barron looks as if he's cementing his place in that team.
He does, mate. He's far off his one player. I was going to say, in that when you lose a player like John Lundstram, who in terms of the legs, he's got that in him. Conor Barron could be still running after the weekend, and he'd not been knackered. the boys, you're right, first name in the team sheet just now. And hopefully it is a thing for homegrown players. You know, obviously we know we need a certain amount of players for the for playing Europe, etc. We've even had players of our own, like your Nathan Pattersons, who are homegrown and they have quality. And I hope that Barron can just completely kick on from there. His attitude, he's like you say, mate, attitude, desire, everything. He's right up there. And yeah, mate, I thought he spoke really well.
Yeah, he did, mate. He did indeed, Nicky. I'll just quickly come to you before we do our teams and speak about the Ross County game. Conor Barron, Ross makes a point. I know I bang on about it all the time, the application desire, but he gives me a bit of a buzz watching him. He just seems to not only get it, but he has that aggression about his game. And I say to my kids all the time, be aggressive. And I don't mean aggressive, go and kick someone. Just be aggressive to win the ball and be hungry. Look as if you want to play football. I enjoy watching this boy.
Aye, absolutely, mate. Listen, he's a perfect blueprint. He's the perfect blueprint of Rangers and Celtic, for that matter. He'll give these Scottish boys a platform. They'll give them an opportunity to go and showcase themselves in bigger games in front of more people, bigger matches. If they want to go on and do bigger things, I have an absolute no doubt in my mind that Barron would, I'm sure, love to play in a big league like the English Premier League. Rangers and Celtic across the road, for that matter, can provide these boys with a platform. So it is a blueprint that works. And yes, I agree. I think what Barron has done since he's come in here, he's given us an energy, he's given us a hunger, or the words you guys use, the desire, etc. The only one thing I will say, Ryan, is obviously the Clement comment about Lundstrom. I actually kind of agree with them. Now, before everybody jumps down my throat, the reason I say that is I don't think we've replaced John Lundstrom, and I don't necessarily mean in terms of quality, because what we've seen from Barron is he has brought that quality that is good as, if not better than Lundstrom. What I feel with John Lundstrom, though, is when we brought him in, he was a big profile, mate. He was a big name, right? He was a big name who came from the English Premier League. He was playing every single week. And as much as we maybe don't want to admit it, and maybe Lundstrom didn't perform in periods when he was at Rangers, John Lundstrom, in my opinion, was probably the first midfielder on the team sheet under Clement. I don't think when we brought in Barron, Clement thought, you know what, Barron is going to be my number one, right? I think in an ideal world, Clement would have been thinking, we'll bring in Barron. Scott, I think he's the Ryan Jack replacement. And later on in the window, we will bring in a number 6 or a number 8 who has that bigger profile, the likes of what you had with Lundstrom, a bigger name, potentially that you would go, do you know what? He's the name that will be on the team sheet when we play in Europe, when we go to Celtic, when we go to Pittodrie, Tannadice, etc., etc., etc. What Barron has done, however, I think he's changed the mind very quickly because of how good he's been. Clement is now in the point where he goes, do you know what? Maybe he will be the first name on the team sheet, a la John Lundstrom.
Yeah. No, you make a good point, Nicky, and you'll look at football a lot different than I did. You played a lot longer and a better level than I did. So you make a good point about it, and especially the name side of things. Conor Barron's literally starting his career out. He'd barely broken through at Aberdeen. So yeah, no, just one I wanted to put a wee bit of light on because he deserves a bit of credit. Boys, I know I was going to run over tonight, so I'll just quickly, we're here to discuss the Ross County game. We play Ross County in the league tomorrow, 3:00 at Hampden. Please let it be the last one. We need 3 points. We know what's happening next week. We need 3 points. It's simple as that. We should be beating Ross County at home tomorrow. Carney, how do you see it going? Team and score if you feel obliged to.
Yeah, I think ultimately that, mate. I don't expect anything else apart from Rangers to win. I think the kind of long shadow that the stadium work's getting delayed and us having to play at Hampden is starting to diminish a little bit, and we are hopefully on the edge of a return to Ibrox. As we mentioned earlier, can't come soon enough. So I just expect Rangers to win tomorrow. I expect us to build on St Johnstone. I think I was a wee bit critical about how much of a slog it was. It was a slog to an extent. It was a comfortable routine win, don't get me wrong, but it's the wastefulness in front of goal that's beginning to tick me off a little bit even more. I think you kind of forget about it over pre-season, but we've actually been doing that for years, like not putting the ball in the back of the net. But that's something I want to see improve. But look, some of the play that we played on, some of the passages of play even we seen on Saturday against St Johnstone were better. There's absolutely no doubt they were better. There was good link-up play on our left-hand side with Jefty and Matondo, and you just want to see relationships continuing to form and the ideas of Clement to be properly implemented. I think we've stalled a little bit in terms of what he's trying to do, but I think that's all down to recruitment and the players that he has at his disposal. So hopefully a few more signings will change things. But yeah, tomorrow all I expect really is a win. Before I do my team, I didn't see the end of Clement's pressure. Is there a squad update? Who's fit and who isn't?
He has got...
Everybody's injured.
No, the injury update was quite good, Ryan. I'll let you go on, mate, but it sounds as though only Proper and Yilmaz are the two kind of ones that are maybe missing.
Correct. Cortez back in training, as is Raskin, but they won't be ready tomorrow. Proper is back in training, but he will be 200% ready for next week, he said. 200%.
So in that case, it sounds like he's not going to play Proper tomorrow. So my team, Butland, Tavernier, Suter, Balogun, Jefty, Barron, Diomande. Does he play Sterling tomorrow? Possibly. I think he'll possibly play Sterling tomorrow in the midfield. He might bring Lawrence back in because he's had a bit of a rest. I don't know if he was carrying an ox. He wasn't even on the bench last weekend. So no, I'll go with Lawrence. I reckon he'll bring him back in. Not that I think he should, but I think he will. The left hand side. Scott Wright, is that who else have we got? Is it Scott Wright? Is it anybody else?
He's injured, believe it or not. Yeah. Believe it or not, sorry. I just tried to disregard him, but he's injured.
So Matondo might be off. So McCausland then on the left. Dessers through the middle and Tierney on the right. And I'll go for 2-0 Rangers and Dessers to score first.
Yes, I am going 2-0 Rangers as well. And I was going for Dessers as well, but I'm going to go Robbie Fraser at left back. And I'll put Jefty up in the left-hand side. I think he will play Sterling, Diomande and Barron with the boy Tierney in the right-hand side, because I think he'll need to start thinking how this team are going to play against Celtic. He needs to start. I know they say they won't, but he has to. He has to. Ross, what's your expectations tomorrow? Team and score, please.
Look forward to it, mate. Saturday's at 3. Cannot wait. I think there's a bit more positivity going about this week. I know that Everton's not back to how it should be, but I think tomorrow you should expect an okay atmosphere, albeit at Hampden. But yeah, mate, going into it feeling quite confident. I'm going for my team: Butland, Tav, Suter, Balogun, Jefty. I do actually like your shout with Fraser, although I do agree if it wasn't Celtic next week, then maybe he could have came in, but I think he'll probably want to try and get as many minutes in the legs for next week in mind. So with that, I'm going at midfield of Barron, Diomande, and I'm going to start Sterling. I think if you want to be winning that midfield battle next week, I think Sterling, Barron, Diomande, that's legs there for you. Front three, I'm going to go Matondo on the left. I'm going to go Tierney on the right. It's between Tierney and McCausland. And the man D9 up top, and I'm going to go 3-0 Rangers, and boys, I'm not going to lie, what a social media meltdown with a Tav penalty.
Oh, I've not done them in a while.
It'll be me, it's having a meltdown. Nicky, what's your team and score and what you're expecting tomorrow, please?
Hi, I think we'll comfortably win it, to be honest. I might be mad, but I've actually got the same team as Ross and the same scoreline. I think Jefty will play left back. I've got Sterling in the middle of the park as well. The links with Matondo and Blackburn don't seem as concrete as Ben Davies' link down south, so I suspect he will still be kicking around tomorrow. So I think Matondo will play. I had 3-0. I thought Diomande might get us off the scoring tomorrow, but we need a big performance. We need one. We've got a massive game next weekend. So we need a performance. We need things to start clicking. We need to look like we're not going to just be played through by the Celtic midfield three like we have done in numerous occasions over the last couple of years. So let's hope we can put a bit of structure together. We've started seeing wee bits of patterns of play over the last couple of games. Let's hope they continue, and get a good win, another good week's training to get into next week's game as well.
Yep, hope so. And it's important for them to get confidence before next week, because we all know what's happening then. Everyone, thank you so much for staying with us. I knew I would run over tonight. I sent the boys an agenda, and it was a Christmas list. So I scored a few things off it, but kept it positive as much as possible, as much as you'll get from me anyway. But I do want to thank you all for listening to us this evening. And I'll say thank you to my guests. Firstly, Mr. Carnley, thank you. And you will be Club Reaction tomorrow, I imagine.
Yes, it will be, mate. Yes, thank you, mate. Thank you, everybody, for the chat tonight. And let's hope tomorrow is a more than comfortable win. We do build on a good performance, and we get ourselves as ready as we can be going into the following weekend. So, yes, I very much hope to be speaking to you tomorrow after a very lovely win by Rangers. That would be quite pleasant.
It was indeed. And thank you, Ross McLean, a.k.a. Connor Barron, settling in to your new role in this podcast.
I'll take that, mate. I'll take that. Thank you. No, thank you, gents. That was an absolute pleasure. Looking forward to it. Just 3 points up the road, Rangers. Again, hopefully it is that last home game at Hampden. And, well, for my parking sake, I hope it is, honestly. I'm not going to go there. But anyways, thank you so much, gents. And, let's bring on tomorrow.
Good man. And thank you very much, Nicky. You continue your work with Club Spotlight. Sorry for getting that wrong at the beginning of the podcast. Have a good weekend, mate.
The thing is, you've been on it as well.
I was just going to say, it's not like you weren't on the launch of the entire podcast or anything.
Come on, boys, come on.
But no, listen, it's been good to catch up. I am tired. Those 3 pods have massively taken out of me, so I will be going away for a lie down and then look forward to a good weekend and hopefully 3 points.
3 points indeed. And if because Mr. Pearson isn't here, doesn't mean we can't do it. All the best, Justin. God bless America, and all the best for your proposal. Boys, we'll be back with a reaction of some point, like Mr. Carnley will be. Thank you, everyone, for listening. We are Club at 22, the Rangers podcast. Cheers.